Hey there, this is April, and I thought I would show you my latest build. Oh gosh, I can't even believe it's done. This one really threw me through a loop almost every single step, but I'm pretty pleased with the outcome. I still need to stain and seal it, but as you can see, it is a glass waterfall. This piece of glass was actually given to the company I work for. It was a sample piece, and whenever it wasn't needed anymore, it was just going to get thrown away, so I asked if I could have it. Even though at the time I had no idea what I was going to do with it, I was pretty confident I could think of something. It's a 1/4 inch thick, 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet, and this logo here is actually sandblasted in on the back side of it. There is a tub in this frame here where I've placed a fountain pump. Plumbing runs up the side, across the top, in front of the glass, where I've drilled holes. Water falls down into the pump and repeats. I have wired in 2 switches back here. One for the pump, one for the lights, and they're independent of one another. Top cap, everything can be removed. So this top cap, these 2 side arms, piece of glass can be lifted up and taken away, and then the base could be lifted up and access to the tub of water. I've also created a hatch right here to access the pump without tearing the whole thing apart. And then these rocks, in order to not fill up the entire tub with rocks but still get it up to this level, I've created a shelf, I guess. It's just 4 horizontal supports with a layer of wire meshing so that it only takes 1 layer of rocks to put up here. Red lights, my company's colors are red and white, and this lighting was actually my 4th option. I originally wanted the lights to be tucked up underneath this top cap, but on the other side, but plans don't always go accordingly. So I purchased these. They are 50 watt LED lights, and I just purchased a red filter and changed out the lens so that they shine red. And everything else is made out of 3/4 inch red oak plywood. I would have loved to make it out of something solid, but I work with what I got. And I think that's all the features I can show you with it in this form. So I guess let me tear it apart and I'll show you the rest. Okay, so to disassemble this, I would remove the top cap and then remove this column. And I did leave enough cord here to where I could hold this, as you can see, without it being pulled. And then for you to see how I mount this, I ended up just cutting a dado the length of the board so that it rests nice and snugly on this piece of glass. And then of course these end caps just fit right over the end columns. Then the lights are mounted on the back. And these lights, they didn't come like this. I ended up having to buy these and then disassemble the stock mount that came with them in order to kind of rig it up this way. It also came with a light sensor that ended up cutting out and just filling in the hole with a random cap that fit. And then, like I said earlier, just put a red lens in or a red filter in to make it shine red. So that's the top cap. And I also added this feature in to where it's kind of like a quick disconnect. I didn't like the idea of the cap being just connected to the entire unit, so I wanted a way to make it individual if need be. And then of course it runs down there and it splices into the switches and out through the power line. Now, as you can see with the top cap removed, you can see how I'm getting the water on the glass. And even though this is PVC, I actually started off using this flexible hose. And the flexible hose worked really well starting off, but I had it laid out something like this, and as you can see, it creates like a sweet 90 right here instead of a hard 90 like this PVC does. And it worked fine until I turned off the switch, and as soon as that pressure decreased, the water would run back onto itself to where it collected and ended up pooling at the base of the columns, which of course I couldn't have. And so I switched over to this PVC. It's 1/2 inch PVC, but I kept this flexible hosing down here, just to make an easy way to connect to the pump down into the tub. And then I just spliced in here. Hard 90 completely solves the problem of the water running back onto the pipe. And then I grabbed a 1/8 inch drill bit, marked every single inch along the portion that sits on the glass, but then I actually only drilled every other. So they're spaced apart 2 inches, 1/8-inch holes. And if you do this, you want to start off really, really small because you don't want to end up killing your pressure. And you just want to kind of gradually add holes until you have the perfect flow across the glass. And I tell you what, getting the perfect flow across the glass is kind of tedious work. It was kind of an all-afternoon job for me. And to save you some trouble, the first thing you want to do is make sure that your glass is very clean. And just another tip from my build is I found it best, instead of pointing the holes directly at the glass or even down the glass, I found it best to angle them up just slightly, because then whenever it hits the glass, the water kind of goes like this and merges into itself as it falls. And so instead of just staying in individual streams, it'll merge and flow down evenly. And of course, you're going to have some stubborn ones that every once in a while that just don't want to merge. And so you can just wipe your finger across the glass and it'll connect those two. But I guess I can turn it on for you so you can see. But it takes a second, starts up. As you can see, it starts off in individual streams, and then eventually the water takes over and fills itself in. Hose clamps keep it in place. These side columns I've cut in dados to once again hold the glass so it's nice and supported. And at this point, with the 2 side columns off, I would be able to lift this glass up and just set it out of the way. And I don't think I'm going to do that because I don't really feel like tearing it apart. But I can show you the back if you want to see the back. So here are my switches. I have my pump for the left and lights on the right. You can see here as it's flowing out. This is what I'm talking about the water here, and then it just kind of merges into a steady stream. And I went ahead and cleared off some rocks for you to see. These are the horizontal supports that I've put in. As you can see, they're set back away from the glass with this wire meshing. And then, of course, just a little mouse hole for the cord to run out to. So I guess that's it, really, for the features. Now, I know that it's pretty unlikely that you are going to be in a similar situation as me and come across a free sandblasted piece of glass. And so something that you might want to consider if you want to make one of these is they actually make glass etching cream at Hobby Lobby that you can go and pick up, and it does exactly what it says. It etches glass. And so you can actually, if you can get your hands on a piece of glass, design your own logo design. You can get as creative as you want and etch your piece of glass and then create you a custom-made waterfall. So keep that in mind if this is something that you want to build for either your house or company. But I'm going to post a lot more details in the step-by-step tutorial that I'm going to put together, and I'll leave you a link in the description of the video. As always, guys, please leave me your comments. I love hearing from you, and I'll see you next time.